All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Do Our Things podcast. I'm Jay Teagues, running coach, certified high performance mindset coach, founder of the Do Our Things Nation. And our mission here is to empower you to upgrade your health, wealth, and relationships through mindset and movement. Angie's in the house as well. Angie, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. I'm here. I'm happy it's Monday. I'm ready to get
Happy
it going.
Monday.
Yeah.
What do you got on tap this week? Are you excited about the week?
I am very excited about the week. Roller derby, running. Got to have an amazing weekend with the granddaughters. Yeah. It's going to be a great week.
All the hard things.
All the hard things. Yes.
Well, hey, this morning we're going to talk about the podcast is titled "In the Zone: The 5 Running Paces for Peak Performance." Last week we spent most of the time talking about the easy pace and being able to run slow, which is one of the running paces. We thought it'd be fitting to just kind of highlight some of the other running paces so you can get more speed, more efficiency, and spice up your running a little bit, because I think the most common pitfall that runners have is that they find themselves running the same pace, same distance, they might be getting frustrated because they're not getting any faster. And there's some nuances to running at these different paces. And if you can kind of tweak them and you understand the paces, you can make your running just, I don't know. What I love about running is that every run is unique. Every run is its own little adventure, and the paces make it even better because you've got different things that you can target and shoot for. So it's a way to kind of mix it up and spice it up. So we're going to talk about the various paces. Before we get into that, make sure you smash that subscribe button, and that way you're notified of any future episodes that we have. And leave us a review. It goes a long way to expand the Do Our Things Nation. We really appreciate it. Share it with a couple of your friends. If there's a nugget in here that is important, share it with your friends. Tag us on social media. We'd love to hear about it, or shoot us a message directly. If there are any topics you want us to talk about, definitely feel free to hit us up. And then we do our weekly winner. And if you want to nominate someone, we're looking for nominations to recognize people that are out there crushing it and getting after it. And we send them a shirt. So send us nomination with a quick write-up, and we'd be happy to do that. So we're also sponsored by DoHardThingsNation.com, where we have an opportunity to buy some merch. We've got some pretty cool gear. We've got Do Hard Things patches and flags and shirts. And if you want to become a pro member, get access to personalized running coaching plan and access to our mindset group, where we do weekly mindset sessions from the high performance curriculum to help you crush your goals. Now, so it's like going to the gym for your mindset. So if you'd like to learn more about that, go to dohardthingsnation.com. You can also see all of our upcoming events. We got the Do Hard Things 28. We just finished up the month of January. Got a slight twist for February. We got the Taji 100 kicking off in February, Rock and Roll Marathon up in April, and Do Our Things 9/11 run in Ruck in September, USMC in October, and a couple more things that we're working on. So keep an eye out on your email and keep tabs on the website so you can learn more. And if you're not part of our Facebook page, you want some encouragement and motivation, go check out our Facebook page. We're also, Angie and I are both pretty active on TikTok. So we're actually live streaming now on TikTok. So if you'd like to join us there, I've been posting a lot more stuff on TikTok that's exclusive there. It's just a fun community. So yeah, that's it for the business end of things. So, Angie, can you believe it's the freaking end of January of 2024 already?
No, I cannot. It is. I feel like I blinked, and it's just like, oh, okay. Well, there's another month's gone by. All right.
I know it went by quick. I just felt like we just got through Christmas, and the end of January. I mean, it's already gone. We're February is this week, which is awesome because I'm looking forward to spring. But it just reminded me how quick time flies.
Yes.
And, how was your month of January as far as your training and fitness and everything else?
Training, month of January was hard. I was sick a lot. I brought a lot of December sickness in to January, and so man, it was tough. But I got it done. I stuck it out, and I feel much better now, and I look forward to moving into February head first. I mean, Taji is just it's the yearly thing that I look forward to. And so, yeah.
Makes February suck less.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what Taji is, Taji has become like an annual event. It's a virtual challenge, and it supports the Taji 100 501c, and it supports Team Red, White, and Blue, and just a great way to. So it's one of our events for the month. So if you have any interest, you want to join, you're listening to us later, or just earmark February as Taji month, and it's a great way to get some miles in. So. As far as I'm getting some longer runs in, I've got the big race in April, the Ozark Adventure. So I'm actually piling on some mileage now. We're getting up there. I think we're on for 16 miler this week.
Nice.
And we get to run that in Florida. So we're going to go down to Tybee Island with the Ultramax team and help time the race down there. I got to learn how to use the MyLapse timing system. And yeah. Oh, and just wrapping up the Do Hard Things 28. I'm down.
Yes.
I'm down 6 pounds.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel, and I think that's, gosh, the Do Hard Things 28 challenge was a great way to kick off the week. I mean, the year actually. And I'm starting it right back again on February 1st. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Our twist. Well, I'll push it. I'm not going to talk about it on the podcast today, but if you're interested in that, I'm going to push out an email and video in the Facebook group. But if you have interest in Do Hard Things 28, go to dohardthingsnation.com. Click on the challenges, and you can download the sheet. It's a great way to jumpstart. And yeah, so
absolutely.
All right, let's hop into the topic of today, which is training paces. And there are 5 paces that you need to be aware of. And this is so I'm a big fan of the Daniels running formula. I'm a certified coach with them. So these are the training paces that I use with my runners and I'm familiar with, and I'm going to give you an overview of what they are. But I think in order to understand the training paces, we need to understand what VO2 max is. Now, everyone's heard the term VO2 max, but what is it? Because it does get a little geeky, and I'm going to try to explain it in a way that that doesn't go over your head. Because as soon as I say that, sometimes I even for a long time, like, what the VO2 max? I try to read it over and over and over again. Like, what the hell does this really mean? So I'll try to explain it in a way that makes sense. So VO2 max is your it's known as the maximal oxygen uptake. It's the maximum rate at which an individual can consume oxygen. You're breathing in oxygen, right? During intense or maximal, like when you're like full on effort, right? So it's measured in milliliters of oxygen, and it's consumed in 1 minute per kilogram of body weight. Okay, now I know people just like their eyes are rolling back their head. All right, okay, you lost me on all that, right? So VO2 max is a key indicator of your aerobic physical fitness. It's basically the capacity of your heart, lungs, and blood to deliver oxygen to the muscles during a sustained physical activity. Now, typically this is tested on a treadmill in a, like a lab rat with a mask over your face. I've done it before. It's not pleasant. It's a really tough exercise. But the data is really good. Now, many people don't have access, or they're unwilling to pay for a VO2 test. And it's okay. It's what I love about the Daniels running formula, because you don't really need to do that. We can kind of gauge what your VO2 max is based on some of these paces, because they've done a really good job of creating some tables. So Dr. Jack Daniels, yes, just like the whiskey. I like the whiskey and I like the running coach. He's a world-renowned running coach who created the Daniels running formula. I don't recall his partner's name. Should have prepped for that for this podcast. But bottom line is, he had a running friend who worked at NASA, and they basically broke down, like, they could determine what your training paces were, and they could estimate, like, if you ran a 5K at a certain pace and you gave it an all-out effort, like what they call it the V dot, because they didn't do a VO2 test, but they could kind of determine with a level of accuracy, what your marathon pace could be if you did the appropriate training based off those times. So all of that to say that the V dot is a formula from Jack Daniels based on VO2. Okay, so let me go back to VO2. VO2 max is the maximal rate in which an individual can consume oxygen during intense or maximal exercise. It's measured in milliliters of oxygen consumed in 1 minute of kilogram of body weight. Okay. So VO2 max is a performance indicator. And it's ultimately what tests and measures your cardiovascular fitness. So how, how good that whole system is operating. It's these values are associated with high levels of endurance, and typically runners and cyclists and rowers, they this is a pretty key metric for their fitness. When you understand your VO2, it'll help you with your training data and help you with your paces. When I describe the paces, it refers back to VO2, which is why I'm talking about it now. Let me use an analogy that might make more sense. Your VO2 max is like the engine size in a car. Okay, so I've got a couple cars. I got a little 4-cylinder diesel engine in my sport wagon Jetta. I've got a 6-cylinder in my 4Runner. What kind of car do you have, Angie?
Jeep Compass truck.
So you probably got like a 4-cylinder, maybe.
Yeah, 4-cylinder.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then my father-in-law, he's got an old Tundra. It's got the V8 in it. So we can understand different engine sizes, different horsepower. You drive a car. Some of them are my Jetta. It's it's built for distance, and it's steady. It's not super fast, but it's like the optimal. If it were a runner, it would be like I don't know, like an ultra marathoner. Just it's made for just distance and just got really good horsepower. My 4Runner, slow and steady, got enough horsepower to crush some hills, but it's not super fast. Like a sports car, it's made for speed, right? So we all have different engines inside of us. And just like when you're at a car track, you're racing cars, you can modify the engines. I can put a turbo, like a turbo on my 4Runner. They have those to optimize performance. I could spend $7,000 to do that. Some people do that so they can get greater performance out of that 4Runner. So bottom line is engines can be modified, right? So when we're looking at a car analogy, your VO2 max is the size of the engine of your car. So the larger engine, the higher the VO2 max. You have the potential to produce more power because you're getting more oxygen and more blood, just like more fuel in the engine, more combustion. So that's what your VO2 max is. Your fuel efficiency. So my 4Runner, the reason I bought my Jetta is because the fuel efficiency is horrible. I get about, I think right now, like 15 miles a gallon in my 4Runner because I got lifted tires on it and everything else. So that equates to my fuel efficiency. That's your oxygen utilization. My other car gets like 40 miles to the gallon. So it's got far better oxygen utilization or fuel utilization. So for the human body, think of that as like your oxygen utility. Okay. Your ability to be efficient with your oxygen. A car with better fuel efficiency can travel longer distances on the same amount of fuel. It's the same as a human. So a person with a higher VO2 max can use the oxygen you inhale more efficiently. Does that make sense?
Yes, that last sentence brought it all together.
Okay, cool.
Yes, the last sentence brought it all together.
There we go. Okay, so there's a lot. Yeah, this is not easy to explain. So when it comes to VO2 max, your fuel efficiency for you is the amount of oxygen that you can process, that you can inhale more efficiently.
Okay.
And so you can work on that. That's why we want to train these training paces so you can maximize the use of your oxygen. Hence, refer back to last week's podcast episode of why running slow is incredibly important. It makes you a more fuel efficient car, a fuel efficient runner. Does that make sense? Lacey's listening. She gets it. Okay, awesome. Good. Yes, you've heard it. I'm just trying to make it stick. So this is not easy. We're trying to make these concepts stick. So all right. Yeah. So that means if you have a higher, if you're more efficient with your oxygen utilization, you can run faster, longer, and you can go further on a tank of gas. Okay. So just like a sports car with a powerful engine, a higher VO2 max can perform better. And you can sustain a higher intensity. So when you are like redlining it, you got a tachometer, you want to keep the, car running. This is when you're like running hard and fast. you can, like, if you're doing Yasso 800s, which every time I prescribe them to my wife, they're 800-meter, like all out. She wants to divorce me. Well, when I start someone off doing them, we're going to start off at maybe 4. You're going to hate me after those, but at 4, you're probably done. Well, next week I'm going to give you 5, and you're going to notice that you can actually do a little bit longer, and then we're going to work our way up to 8. Well, when you increase your VO2 max, you are increasing your performance, and that's enabling you to run faster, longer, and make those incremental changes. Does that make sense? That's how you know that your VO2 max is improving, because when you do these repeated efforts, you can see the improvement. So from 1 week, doing 4 800s, you can do the 5th one. You might still hate me, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But then you're redlining it. I mean, it's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
So this is it's the equivalent of a car maintaining high speed without blowing up the engine, right? So because in a car race, I'm thinking of like Le Mans, where they do that's the ultimate like endurance races for cars. Their job is to push the engine as hard as they can, but they can blow up early. And that's, for a runner equivalent, it's like hitting the wall and just completely falling apart. So your VO2 max is important because you want to push the envelope to finish the race as hard and as fast as you can. Does all that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm still with you. Okay,
cool.
We're here.
Cool. This is not easy to explain. Trying to use this analogy to explain it. So, all right. So VO2 max in regards to performance, just like a sports car has a powerful engine, a higher VO2 max will perform better in endurance sports. That way you can sustain the higher efforts. Cars can be modified and tuned to achieve performance. Some race cars are made for speed, quarter-mile track, okay? All out in a quarter mile. Think of Usain Bolt running a 100-meter dash. All right. Those cars are designed specifically to go all out, short distance. It's a different, you're not going to race that type of car. You're not going to race a drag car at Le Mans doing a 24-hour Le Mans. It's completely different engine, completely different setup. They train different. It's completely different. Your body is the same way. If you're training for a marathon, you're going to be doing a completely different training method and cycle than someone running a 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, 400-meter. So this is why the training paces are important, because the training paces enable you to modify and tune your internal engine. So that's why it's important to these training paces will help you modulate your VO2 max, which ultimately enhances your physical performance. And so while you can't change your engine size genetically, we've all been given a different engine, you can fine tune for better performance. So we're all either, I think I'm more like a diesel engine. I'm like a freaking Freightliner. I'm just a big dude. I'm a Clydesdale, and I've got a diesel engine. I am not incredibly fast. I have tried. I'm a long distance, steady as she goes. I'm probably a better middle distance runner than I am any type of long distance. So, we all have, I look at a smaller runner who can, like a Kenyan, they typically have a certain body size. They're made for long distance, and they can go, that's their body style. That's the engine that they've been assigned. Now we can fine tune our engines for better performance by these training paces. Does that make sense?
So is the goal of training for your VO2 max, are you trying to increase your VO2?
Yes. Ultimately, what an endurance runner should be doing, well, I mean, all athletes should be trying to increase their VO2. There's a combination of, muscle strength and endurance training that's also going to help, right?
Right.
Type 1 fibers versus type 2. So, and things of that nature. But
right.
Overall, we should all be trying to improve our VO2 max. Hence, why runners that run the same, this is the big pitfall, the runners that run the same pace and distance every single time, you're not fine tuning your engine. That's why you're not getting faster. And then there's other things to consider, like, your weight and your strength and things like that, and your nutrition. But we're talking about training paces. If you don't train in the different paces, you're not going to improve your efficiency. You're not going to be able to get better fuel economy in your car, and you're not going to be able to fine tune your car for higher performance. So that's why we have the 5 training paces, so you can work on those different paces so you can fine tune your car.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we spent a lot of time talking about VO2 max and really talking about the engine. Let's talk about the 5 training paces. They're pretty simple. These are actually pretty simple, but these are good to know. But I think it's really important to know what the paces are, or the what VO2 max is. All right. So we talked a lot last week about the easy pace. If you want to do a deep dive on the easy pace, that is a perceived effort. If there's a perceived effort of 1 through 10, 0 being laying in your bed, turning oxygen into carbon dioxide, not doing anything, that's 0, right? 10 is like all out, like you are just raw down the track. An easy pace is going to be 4. You know that you're in the easy pace when you are having a conversation. You are just, it should feel easy. You should feel comfortable. You should be having a good time. Just
it should be fun. Yes.
It should be fun. All right. Now, however long you run for the week, you should be about, 80% of your runs should be at this pace. That sounds counterintuitive. When I tell people that, their mind, they're like, they can't believe it. Like, coach, am I even getting anything out of this? Yes. You are working on becoming a Volkswagen Jetta that gets 45 miles a gallon. You're working on that ability to be economical. You cannot do that if you're running threshold all the time and running, interval pace all the time. You can only really do that. You get the max benefit by running slow. This is also the time to work on your cadence. So it's kind of like, from a car perspective, optimizing the tires and making sure that the car is running efficiently down the track, if that makes sense. You're working on, all of the other, your economy of running, your cadence and strides and all of those things. You're working on your ability to feed yourself and just having a good time, right? We want you to come back next time. So that's what your easy run's all about. It's 59 to 74% of your VO2 max. That's why we need to know what this is, so we kind of gauge what that is. The easy run also enables you to reduce injury as well. So you can get a lot of volume in and without injury, because when you're running hard and fast, you're more prone to injury as well. All right. So if you want to do a deep dive on the easy run, check out last week's podcast. We're really dissected. But the bottom line is slow run, 4 out of 10, 80% of the time. All right. The next pace is your marathon pace. Now, this is, I have runners be like, hey, I'm just training for a 10K. Why am I running the marathon pace? I'm not training for a marathon pace. It's just a designator. This would be your ideal pace that you would run a marathon so you could finish it at the end. You're not going all out because you don't want to burn out, but you're not going easy because we want to put in an effort. We want to. So this is probably more of like a 6 out of 10 or anywhere between 4 to 6 out of 10. This would be your projected marathon pace. And so I'll put in the end pace. So a little bit faster, but not super hard. At this pace, you can still speak, probably not full sentences. I mean, you should be able to speak full sentences, but it might be a little bit uncomfortable, especially as you get tired toward the end of it. You should be able to eat and drink at this pace. That's important to note.
Mm-hmm.
This is 20% of your weekly mileage should be at M pace. So that's it. That's your marathon running pace. Then there's your threshold pace. Now, if I were to, when I program runners to run, we're going to have at least one threshold run per week. Your threshold should be comfortably hard. This is more like an 8 out of 10, or maybe anywhere between, well, let's say that 6 to 8 range, but probably more toward the 8, where you could be able to speak, but you can maintain it, but you're looking forward to this being over with. Like, this kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're getting close to that red line, but we're holding it. An elite rested runner can hold this pace for about 60 minutes. For the average runner, we're probably talking like 20 to 40 minutes for the most part. That's the sustained effort. So when I train a new runner, we're probably like, I'm always looking for, hey, I need you to go out and run a good 20-minute solid run so I can get your VDOT, so I can understand what your overall VDOT paces will be. That's based off your threshold training pace. Threshold pace is about 86 to 88% of your VO2 max. So this is like probably This is where on the tachometer, where it's like that red line, like we're not crossing the red line, but we're right there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
car can run there. Red lines, that's bad, right? That's you're gonna blow up. You
Yeah.
can run your car there, but we're not. We're right at the line.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so once a week, steady, demanding, um, comfortably hard threshold run is what you need, or some type of interval or tempo. We can do a whole other episode about different types. We should probably do that. Different types of threshold runs. All right. The next pace is the interval pace. And this is where we're going to really maximize and really stress our VO2 max for efficiency. This is basically running at VO2 max. So to get into VO2 max, like have you ever done a VO2 test? Have you done one, Angie, before?
No, I have not. Mm-mm.
So they put you on a treadmill and you get going, and it takes about 2 minutes to get into that zone of where you're actually in
Mm-hmm.
to VO2 max. So when you do eye training, this is probably going to be more like a 7 to an 11, maybe 12-minute run.
Mm-hmm.
But the first couple minutes, you're just kind of ramping up because
Mm-hmm.
you've got the energy, but it's really about getting the oxygen and getting the heart rate and kind of getting everything kind of like getting everything going.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll do these interval paces, and this is going to really kind of help you expand your VO2 max. But when you do these, you're probably going to run no more than probably 11 to 12 minutes of running. But the whole point is to get you into that VO2 max where you're at about a 9 out of 10 on the perceived effort scale
Mm-hmm.
to really, really like just push the limit, right? We're really doing a performance test on your engine here is what we're doing when you do eye training. Eye training is about 8% of your weekly mileage. So this would be on I would program this on a threshold run, or your quality session for a threshold on a threshold day. But this is a pace that you could subjectively maintain for about 10 to 12 minutes of racing in time. So think of probably like an all-out mile. If you're running a mile or maybe a little bit more than a mile, like that pace,
Mm-hmm.
really freaking hard. It sucks. Like you're suffering. It
Yeah.
hurts. Kill me now.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, you've got repetition pace. This is basically your all-out speed. This is should be no more than 5% of your weekly mileage. It's just super hard. It's a 10. It's a 10 short distance. Just to kind of the bottom line for that. Once again, you're doing your VO2 max. You're working on those type 1 fiber muscles. It's really good, like strength training. That's why runners should do that, because you're varying up your paces. You're getting some strength out of it. You're increasing your capacity as well for VO2. That's it's like going to the track and doing 100 meter, 200 meter, maybe 400 meter repeats. So those are the 5 paces. So when I train runners, most of the time, most of you're really going to be operating out of one of the 3: easy, marathon, and threshold. And with a sprinkling for a more seasoned runner. I would not put a new runner that hasn't been running much into the I or R repetition until they're probably like their second training cycle. But it's all about volume and working on some speed. And then when you get enough volume, then we can really work on speed. That's when you introduce the interval pace and repetition pace. So what did I miss? Did I miss anything? We're talking a lot.
No, I don't think you missed anything. Okay. So when you're training, how does a heart rate monitor, how can that help you in understanding your training paces by wearing that, monitoring that?
Yes. So your heart rate monitor is going to enable you, and everyone's heart rate's different. And we should surely talk about heart rate training on another episode, because we're already at 6:30. But the bottom line is, just like your tachometer on a car, that's basically what your heart rate monitor is. It's going to show you what zone that you're operating in. And so zone 2 and 1 and 2 is going to be your easy run. Marathon, you're probably pushing the upper limits of zone 2 and into the threshold, which is zone 3. And then threshold, you're squarely in that zone. And then you've got, so your repetition and I are going to be at the zone 5, just all out maxing, like redlining it. And
Yeah.
my heart rate monitor, it shows a red line when I'm doing that. It shows red. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's heart rate training is really good because you can see how well your body is recovering and how tired you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we'll do a whole other episode
Yeah.
on heart rate, but I like perceived effort because sometimes I don't want people to constantly be like doing you can overdo the data where you're
Yeah.
constantly like looking at gauges, and you can suck the life and the fun out of your run if you overdo it.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
true.
perceived effort because, hey, maybe your watch dies in the middle of a race,
Yeah.
at least you can train off perceived effort. And I don't want you to be a data junkie where you're just constantly measuring everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I think heart rate is an excellent tool for tracking, these different runs for maximum efficiency. But we'll do another episode on that. So
yeah. For the sake of time, I mean, I feel like using the data to help you understand your body to where you don't have to have any type of equipment on you to understand what zone you're at any given time based on perceived effort. I think that's kind of the goal there. But yes, you're right. We're at 31. So
absolutely. So that's it. So that's an overarching view of VO2 max. Hope I explained that in a way that makes sense in your different training paces, so you can modify your engine to be more efficient. Because if we're runners, like, let's be frank, we all want to perform better typically.
Yeah.
But I will say, do not measure yourself, with other people's yardstick. Make yourself better. Exactly. And your training paces are a way to go. If you need help with that, I mean, when I do my training with my athletes, we use the VO2 app. When I program, you're assigned your training paces every week, and your watch synchronizes with that. So when you're out running, it'll give you an alarm like, okay, we need to get in our threshold pace now. And it'll give you those indicators. So if you want to really do a deep dive and really get some benefit from training, reach out to me. We'll just set up on a plan. So, all right. With that being said, let's talk about our weekly winner. I'm excited about this one. This one's awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can see my screen, this is, hang on a second. Sorry, I had a glitch here on my computer. All right. You guys see my screen?
See it.
Okay, cool. This is Donna Weber. She's been doing our 28-day challenge. She is from Columbia, Missouri. And here's what's been super awesome about Donna. She just posted this morning. She didn't step on the scale for the entire month. She took a before, she did all of her before, and she got her weight and did all the before actions that you're supposed to do. And she stepped on the scale this morning. Yesterday was day 28. So today is technically day 29. She lost 10.5 pounds.
Good for
and she
her.
was so nervous about stepping on the scale because she didn't know how it was going to pan out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just proof that in a short amount of time, you can make significant gains by just being consistent in some basic daily habits.
Absolutely.
And what I love about the Do Hard Things 28, it's just 8 tasks. You do them consistently, and you show up every day, and you're going to gain improvement. And she's been awesome. She's been sharing every day. She's been listening to the podcast. And Donna, I just want to say, job well done. That's a testament of your commitment and your dedication to self-improvement. And I appreciate you sharing. One of the aspects of this challenge is using the hashtag to share. So being vulnerable enough, the reason that we put that in there, you never know who's watching, and you never know who you're going to inspire. Mm-hmm. And by sharing your journey, you're going to be able to inspire other people. And, we woke up this morning, Lacey's like, check this out. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. And it inspires the hell out of us. So thank you. And
Great job. Yeah, that's awesome.
So, all right. Well, that's it. Angie, I've been talking a lot. I'm going to let you just take it from here.
Hey, all right. So, it's Monday. What do we do on Mondays? We go, we get out there, make yourself smile. If you woke up and you're like, oh no, this is Monday, change that around. Look yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself you are a badass and you are going to go out and conquer the week and make yourself smile. Look at somebody else. Give them a smile. Maybe they're having a bad day. Pump them up a little bit. Spread the kindness. That's what it's about. And just go do some hard things. And when you're doing hard things, it's going to make you smile because you're like, I'm doing the hard things.
Absolutely.
That's how we crush these Mondays.
Absolutely. You may not be like in the middle of that hard thing, like, oh, this sucks. Like, supposed to be like, hey, I'm going to kill you. But then when you're done, you're like, man, it was amazing. So
that's right. That's right.
That's what it's all about. Hey, Donna's watching. Hey, good morning,
Hey, Donna.
We got, all I see is Facebook user. So I'm sorry. I can see some people like Russ is on, but other people are like Facebook user. But there's a bunch of people. You killed it. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Donna Weber. This is a well-deserved win. So there we go. Let's read them all.
Absolutely.
All right. So, all right, guys, crush the day in the palm of your hands. Need more support? Go to doorthingsnation.com, and we will see you all in the next episode.
Yes, we will.